Hello, my name is Elkrief, and in this video I'm going to talk about how to find inner peace. So we all want inner peace, but what is it? How do we have it? Well, as you've probably come to discover if you're searching for this type of thing, external stuff can't give us peace, right? If we have wealth, it can't give us peace because it doesn't eliminate our insecurities, our judgments, our worries, our anxiety. If we have a wife, if we have kids, it doesn't eliminate any of these thoughts. So if external world can't make us happy, how do we make our inner world peaceful? Well, the only thing that takes you away from peace is believing in the idea that something is bad. That's it. So, I'll explain that a little bit more clearly. So when you experience anxiety, it's because you believe it would be bad if so-and-so happened. When you experience worrying about what someone thinks, it's because you think it would be bad if they had that opinion. When you feel insufficient, it's because you think it's bad that you are like this. When you feel ashamed about your situations, because you think your situation is bad. When you feel guilty about something, it's because you think it was bad that you did that. When you feel judgments towards others or anger, it's because what they did is bad, or something about them is bad. That's the only thing that creates your unhappiness, is just the idea that something is bad. And then once we become spiritual or examining our thoughts, then we have new concepts of bad, as it's bad to think negative thoughts, it's bad to have a busy mind, it's bad to think about the future, it's bad to think about the past, it's bad to have tension, it's bad not to act lovingly. All of that just creates suffering. All of that is just suffering, suffering, suffering. Right? You've probably discovered that. And then there's this internal war happening in your head of wanting to do what's good, but yet doing something that we think is bad. Or wanting to think good thoughts, but yet thinking bad thoughts. And then this conflict happens, and this internal battle going on. So if you want to end the battle, just stop. In this moment, just stop. And just bring your attention back here. Bring your attention back to this moment. What's here right now? And then notice mind pops up, stories pop up. Let them pop up. It's okay. Don't try to stop thinking. Don't try to let go of thoughts. Don't try to improve thoughts. You don't pick the thoughts which enter your head. Do you? Look. What's the next thought to pop up? Where does it come from? Who put it there? If you picked the thoughts that entered your mind, you would never think negative thoughts. Why would you? It doesn't make us happy. So stop trying to control your thoughts, just in this moment, and just let them do whatever they want. Give them free rein. And then stop and bring your attention back here. Back to my voice and back to my eyes. We're just here, sitting, standing, listening. Right? We're just here being. You don't need to fix anything, improve anything. How do you know something's not good enough? Where does not good enough exist? Where is bad in this moment? Where is there a problem in this moment? Where does problem exist? Can you find it? Can you locate it? Is it here? Can you touch it? Can you hold it? Stop and come back. We're just here being. Where is there a problem? Where is not good enough? It doesn't exist. It's just a story. So notice, what's the next story to pop up in your head? The next comment, the next question. And then follow it for a moment. See where it takes you. And then stop and bring your attention back. When you follow stories, it creates problems out of nothing. It creates suffering. But then when you bring your attention back to this moment, all of a sudden we're just here. Nothing wrong here. Where's insufficiency in this moment? Where is lack in this moment? How do you know? Even if there's a feeling in your body, how do you know what a feeling signifies? That's just a story. A feeling is just a feeling. End of story. And every time we follow a thought, it takes us into this fantasy world, away from here, now. What is real in this moment? What do I see in this moment? What exists right now? Stop and come back. Stop and come back. We're just here. Nothing to fix, nothing to improve, nothing to do. Stop and come back. Just bring your attention here. Who says something's not good enough? Who says thoughts are no good? Where does that exist? Who says I'm not peaceful enough? Where does that exist? You're just here being. Let your experience be whatever it is. Allow your experience to just be whatever it is. How do you know it's bad? How do you know the feeling in your body is no good? That's just an idea, a concept. It doesn't exist as part of reality. Stop and come back. And just notice in this moment. Allow thoughts to do whatever they want. Allow your experience to be whatever it is. But look, is there a problem here? Stop and come back here. Is there a problem? Is there something wrong here? You want to have inner peace? Allow everything to be as it is. Recognize that bad doesn't exist as part of the facts. Recognize you don't know what bad is. Everybody has a different concept of what is bad, right, wrong, but none of it is part of reality. Stop and bring your attention back to this moment. And then see what's here. Then all of a sudden what remains is lightness, peace, relaxation. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to improve anything. You don't need to change your mind. You don't need to change others. Let everything be as it is. The only thing that ever created your suffering was following stories. That's it. Reality doesn't have the ability to make you unhappy. Reality doesn't have the ability to take away your peace. Peace is who we are. Peace is our nature. In any moment, we just get confused and we follow thoughts. Of course, because we've been taught our whole life to follow thoughts. But in this moment, just notice the thoughts that come, and then out of curiosity, stop and bring your attention back. Back here, back to this moment. And allow your experience to just be. So, inner peace. Inner peace is just our nature. Inner peace is this moment when we don't add our stories about it. We don't follow our stories about this moment. When we don't believe our stories about this moment, we're left with peace. Inner peace, external peace, it doesn't matter. Peace. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you around my page.